it is under development activity. That is known as what? Development level. Once that project is over, they will release to the market. That is, people are using it. It is comes under what? Implementation level. Are you able to understand? Well, when that application is implementing, an ATM application is running perfect, 24/7 it is running, and a person is, Chandra Harsha is entering into the ATM center. Who is Chandra here? User. When KVR is entered, who is that? User. When some Tommy is entered, who is that? User. Right or not? When any person is entered, that is called what? User. Are you a developer of ATM application? No. So what you did, you put your card, you take your card and put the card in reverse order. By mistake, you kept your card in reverse order. Keeping the card in reverse order is known as what? Wrong input. There was no errors in that. It was developed very perfectly. There was no errors in that program. Perfect results are coming. And the end user is doing wrong with that application. He kept the card in reverse order. Keeping the card in reverse order is known as which error? Runtime error, which is known as exception in Python. Don't take much time. Try to understand quickly. Keeping the wrong activity, doing the wrong activity with an application is called what input? Wrong input, which is known as which error? Why that is named as runtime error? During the implementation, if any person doing wrong activity, we known as runtime error. Spell out runtime error. Okay, done. After doing that wrong input, we call it as an error. In Python, we call it as what? Exception. In Oracle also called as exception. In Java also called as exception. In C#.NET also called as exception. In every language, what is there? Exceptions are available. Once you keep the card in reverse order from the ATM application, what is the reverse message is coming? Come on, don't take much time. Speak in the class. Invalid, that is nothing but what? Please remove the card and insert properly. Will you get that message or not? That message is called user-friendly error message. Spell out. Yes, that user-friendly error message understandable by Chandra and Tommy, and keeping that they did mistake and they will appreciate that a beautiful ATM application is developed. A beautiful ATM application is developed. That means whatever the mistake end user is doing, that mistakes are noticed by our software development and giving an appropriate message for you. What is that message is called? User-friendly error message. To give this user-friendly error message by the ATM application requires some specialized coding. That specialized coding is known as what? Exception handling code. They used it. Are you able to follow? Okay. Next, another continuation. Okay, you will take your card out and keeping the card in proper order again. Yes, you kept the card in proper order. And immediately what is happening? You are allowed to enter your PIN number. Again, you are entering your PIN number wrong. Again, you are entering PIN number wrong. You are entering your 4-digit PIN number wrong. Again, what is happening? Wrong PIN number is known as what? Wrong input. Known as which error? Runtime error is known as what? Exception. So, exceptions are coming because of which input? Wrong input. Reading notes is called what? Correct input. Not reading notes is called what? Exception. And error, runtime error. Runtime error is known as what? Exception. Listening the class from beginning to ending is called what? Correct. Valid input. Middle of it, sleeping and wake up is called what? Exception. Correct? Yes. So, don't tell these examples. Just I am saying, because everybody should understand. So, coming to the point of it, wrong input entering is known as what? Exception. That exception, when it is occurring inside of your application, if you are a good application developer, If you are a good application developer, the ATM application is going to give you what? What message is going to give you? User-friendly error message again, saying that invalid PIN, try again. Invalid PIN is called what message? User-friendly error message. Understand? Next, you take your mobile. When you go for unlock your home screen, you are going to draw the pattern or doing some sort of number you are entering or PIN. If you enter anything wrong, drawing wrong pattern or entering wrong number, what it is giving you? Invalid pattern or invalid PIN will come or not? That means in the mobile development, already some piece of code is written. What is the piece of code? The pattern or PIN number which you registered is not matching with the current pattern drawing or current PIN you are entering is not matching. You will get what? User-friendly error message. Such type of code was written inside. How the code was written, with which topics the code was written? Exception handling, the code was written. Easy or difficult? Easy. Next, after that, you realized very good ATM application and you are entering PIN number correct. Next, it is asking what options. All the options are showing. And you are choosing what option? Withdraw. You have 10,000 rupees in your account, but you are entering 20,000. What is 20,000 entering when you have 10,000? Wrong input. Wrong input is called what? Runtime error. Runtime error is known as what? From now onwards, anything is wrong input. It is straightforward called exception. Do you know, students? You also understand this. When exception occurs in Java, Python, in any language, by default, you will get one message which is known as technical error message. By default, I am saying. What message will come? Technical error message. Who will not understand? End user cannot understand. Who will understand error messages, technical error messages? Programmers. All programmers will not understand. Who is dealing with subject daily, practicing, they only will understand. Everybody will not understand the technical error messages, even though we are programmers. Who has complete knowledge about the subject only, they can enter, they can understand. So, who will understand technical error messages in overall? Programmers can understand. Who cannot understand? Is the real-time projects release the project with the technical error messages or user-friendly error messages? User-friendly error messages. But by default, which message is coming? Technical error message. So somebody has to convert which messages? Technical error messages to what? User-friendly error message. By using which concept they used it? Exception handling, they used it. So tell me, what is exceptions gives you by default? Technical error messages. What are you doing? Handling. What are you handling? Exceptions handling. And converted into what messages? Yes. What is the definition of exception handling? The process of converting technical error messages into user-friendly error message is called exception handling. What is exception? Runtime error is known as exception. When do you get runtime errors? Entering invalid input. Wrong inputs are called which inputs? Wrong inputs are called which error? Runtime error. Runtime errors are called what? Good. Exceptions gives what messages? Wrong answer. Exceptions gives you by default what? Technical error messages. Who will not understand? End users or application users cannot understand. They can't understand. Who will understand? Programmers will understand. Programmers will understand. What they can do? Convert which messages? Technical error messages into which messages? User-friendly error messages. Who will do that? Exception handling. What is the definition of exception handling? The process of converting technical error messages into user-friendly error message is called exception handling. So Java exception handling, C++ exception handling, Python exception handling, Oracle exception handling, any exception handling you take it, that will convert what? Technical error messages into user-friendly error message. Is there any student completed Oracle here? Girls? Completed Oracle? No? Nobody completed Oracle here. Only Python learning. Other courses, no. Why? So, why other courses not doing? Ma? Python is doing everything, huh? Come on, fast. Anyhow, let's start with, because you also intelligent, because Sir is asking some question. Oracle, who is learning? If you say, sir, I am learning Oracle, you will say, stand up and you will ask question. You understand my mindset very well. But one thing you did not understand. I am saying daily read the notes, but you are not doing that. You understand everything, nice students, but you did not understand one key point called main point. I said read every day, but you are not doing. Correct? Correct. Not all, only few of them. Whatever I am talking about that, not everybody who is not reading I am talking about. Correct? Huh? Not reading daily. Correct? Some of them. Okay, students. Those who are reading daily, no issue. Shall I continue the topic? Yes. Now you catch it quickly. Tell me, what is the definition of exception? Definition of exception. Runtime error is called exception. What is the definition of exception handling? Converting technical error messages into user-friendly error message is called what? Exception handling. Is called exception handling. Clear? Right. So, in real-time projects, we need to use exceptions or exception handling. Exception handling. When do you get exception? When we enter invalid input. Every invalid input gives which error? Runtime error. Runtime errors are called what? Good. Exceptions gives by default which messages? Right. Who will not understand? End user. End user. End users or application users. So to make them to understand, I have to convert what? Technical error messages into what messages? User-friendly error messages. For that, what concept I have to use it? Good. Exception handling. What is the definition of exception handling? The process of converting technical error messages into user-friendly error message is called exception handling. Good. So you understand very well. How many types of errors are there? Number one, compile time errors, logical errors, runtime errors. Compile time errors are occurring because of what? Good. So compile time errors occurs in which process? Compilation process. Compilation process. Can anybody can say what is compilation process? Can anybody can say what is compilation process? If you say now, you are great. What is compilation process? If you say, you are great. Who will say? Compilation process. Prashant? Okay. Right, Ma. That is good, but 80% is correct answer. I want very perfect answer. Excellent. It converts source code into bytecode. It converts source code into bytecode. It converts a .py source code into .pyc. Where we discussed it in the diagram. Interpretation process, I said. Who will do this compilation? Python. PVM. Who said good? Who said wrong answer? Python compiler will do that. PVM will do what? Converts the bytecode into executable code. So he said, correct now, that's why raising the hand quickly. So, go to the place, features of Python. Features of Python. You see that interpretation process you see. My dear student, be careful. When you are going to answer these things now, be careful, try to answer it. You see guys, this is called what? Python compiler. Line by line compilation process. Line by line interpretation. In which place? Compilation. Source code converted into what code? Bytecode. .py program converted into what? .pyc. Do you have PVM here, ma? No. PVM is coming at which phase, student? Execution process. What PVM is doing? reading the line by line of byte code, converted into machine understandable code. What is it? Binary code. And which is understandable by what? Understandable by OS and processor, and finally gives what? Result. So for everything PVM, no. So when you say PVM, they will ask who is your faculty. So definitely will tell my name, but I did not say. My notes is, because Prashant is also preparing one topmost textbook, like he is preparing the notes. I shown you already in the class. So when we are giving the notes like a textbook means what? No error should be there. And if you execute anywhere, it should be world-class notes. How it is prepared? With showing the practicals, I am showing. Practical showing and then writing. It's an exact, no? Not whiteboard with a piece of chalk. It's a pollution. Now here everything I am showing practical and I am giving the notes. That's called, as usual, what is happening in Python software I am saying. This entire Python language is what? Interpretation. Come to our discussion now. Compile time errors are coming during what process? Compilation phase. .py. Logical errors are coming during what time? Execution time. Compilation over. Compiler never bother about the logics. Compiler never bother about the logics. A is equal to 10, B is equal to 3, C is equal to A plus B by 2. Print of what? Print of C. Print of C. Answer is what? 11.5. A plus B by 3. Of course, I used it. I hope so. A is, A is 3. B is what? 10. C is equal to what? A plus B by 2. Answer is what? 8. What is an example I gave? One more student is doing what? A plus B by 2. A plus B by 2. Print the value of C. Print the value of C. 6.5. 8 is correct. 6.5 is correct. So it is called what? Logic problem. Wrong results are coming. Correct logic is using. Output is coming. Did you understand, students? Right. Easy or difficult now? Easy. So logical errors are coming due to what? Wrong logics are passing. Runtime errors are coming due to wrong inputs passing. Wrong inputs entered. So I hope you entered it. See, students, always you remember, now I am giving one perfect explanation here. Valid input we are entering. Valid inputs entered to the program. Valid inputs entered to the program or app, which is going to give you what result? Valid results will come. This is one point. From now onwards, you need to remember, invalid inputs you are entering to the program or application, to the program or your business apps, definitely it will give you what? Exception. Invalid inputs means what? Runtime error. Runtime error. Runtime error means what? Exception. Exception immediately gives what message? Technical error message by default, that is. What you are submitting to, you are going to do what? Exception handling. You are handling the exception. Exception handling will give you what? Converting technical error messages into what? User-friendly error message. Just remember the topmost sentence. Come on, all of you say this sentence. You need to remember. Every valid input gives valid result. Reading daily notes, job getting. Happy. Not at all reading the notes, exception will come. What is that exception? No job. No job is nothing but what? Technical error message. Nobody will understand you. Say that not as strong. What will do? Need to handle it. Handling means what? We need to convert such students into what? Reading process. So that we will say what? Please read the notes. What is that message is called? Technical error message we can call. Are you able to get my points? Tell me once again. Valid inputs gives valid outputs. Invalid inputs gives exceptions. Valid inputs gives valid outputs. Invalid inputs gives exceptions. Exceptions by default gives which messages? Technical error messages. Who will understand? Programmers. Who will not understand? Is it a recommended process in real time? No. Recommended process in real time is generating user-friendly error message. Ultimately, you tell me, is the real-time projects are giving user-friendly error messages or technical error messages? When my real-time project is giving user-friendly error message, is it strong or weak? Strong. If a project is giving all technical error messages, nobody will take that project and it is not a valid. So what is the use of exception handling? When I use exception handling in my application, what purpose I will get it? Strong application I can develop. Are you able to understand? Well, so what is the use of exception handling one by one? You tell me. Exception handling purpose is to build robust applications. What do you mean by robust? Strong. Strong meaning is whatever the mistake you do, such mistakes I am telling to you, don't do this, don't do this, do like this, do like that. Is all comes under what? Helping to the end user so that they can enter properly. So such applications are strong or weak? Strong. So exception handling basic purpose is to develop strong applications. Shall we move forward? How many types of errors is it clear for you? Now I am going to show you one simple documentation, my dear students. Now I am going to say exceptions here. Exceptions I am going to take. One small notes I will show you. Types of errors in exception handling. See that carefully and understand. Come on, read slowly one by one. Because if you want to type everything, it takes some time. Because you understand our notes style, right? Instead of typing the same thing again, it will take some time. Program, I will type it. Whatever is explained, you see. The purpose of exception handling is that to build robust applications. Robust is nothing but what? Strong applications. In real time, to develop any project, we need to choose a language. Right? By using programming language, we can develop, we can compile and execute various programs. During this process of development, we get three types of errors. They are compile time errors, logical errors, runtime errors. Good. Compile time errors. Compile time errors are those which are occurring during compilation process. .py converted into .pyc. Converting source code into bytecode. Right? Now, next I am going to say compile time errors are occurring due to syntaxes are not followed. Next, compile time errors are solved by programmer set development time. Who will solve? You only will solve it. You only will solve it. Like a college, you cannot call friend, come here, I have some error. You will call in your college like that or not? CSC students. And you will say, I have more errors, you come here. And finally, all the people will shut down the system and going and sitting with one student is having less errors. That is happening in colleges. Okay, whatever it is. Rahul is asking one good question. Dear sir, is it necessary to learn Oracle or Django or any other course for Python is enough to get the job? Please clarify my doubt. See students, even I'm telling my points to you. Remember carefully. Even if you learn Java, even if you learn C language, C++, and okay, this you leave it, ma. Even if you come to the most competitors, Python, and next is what? C#.net. If you go to it, the 100% chances are there to get the job with Python directly. How much percent? If we come to this both or three streams, Python is the best stream now. That's why more number of students will be there in our classes for Python stream. And especially when you come to this Python and they need to complete the total course and joining the course and then doing that and this and doing odd jobs without reading everything, nothing will happen. When you go to Java you need to learn. After that, advanced Java you need to. Only Java learning, nothing will come. Though job will come. Advanced Java and next Hibernate. Next after that Spring with microservices, Maven tool. So many number of tools you need to spend. You need to spend almost 8 months of time. And what is the success rate there? Only 20%. Only 20%. Because as I am from the pure Java stream. Nowadays, I am telling about. Last 3, 4, 5 years onwards, I am saying the survey. Okay. Now the last 4, 5 years survey, if I come to Python, only Python, if you learn it, 70% chance is that directly you will get the job. But when you go to bigger companies, product-based companies, from you after learning Python, they will expect data science also. Data science also they will expect it. Because they will start your minimum salary with 7.0. That is the profile of the Python jobs. For a fresher level, I am talking about. What is my 25% of the students who are continuing the course up to end of the course? That is what I have seen it. The successfulity of the students rate ratio. So, I am saying that if you learn Python directly as a Python developer, 70% chances are there to get the job. The rest of the 30%, they will expect data science concepts also in your brain. And learning data science is not a difficult one once you complete Python from me, because their data science algorithms are there. If the faculty explain algorithm perfectly, you get the feeling of writing the coding. You use the Python coding and you can do the well. Are you able to follow? Now my point of Rahul doubt is, during this Python learning, if time is there, you learn MySQL. Time is there with you. Any database you learn, because SQL is a standard language in all the databases. You learn it. Either you learn Oracle or MySQL or anything you learn, because SQL is a common thing. Because by using Python, I am going to communicate with what? Database. MySQL, Oracle, we are going to interact with it. Because I am not going to explain Oracle in this class or MySQL. I will use directly SQL standard language we use in the Python. So my advice is Django is there next to Django. It is just like a normal development. 2.5, 3.5, even 2 lakhs. So nowadays, 2 lakhs, 3 lakhs is normal. A normal person also will get it, who is working somewhere, non-IT program they are working. They are also getting. Software developer means what? Is having prestigious job. You need to stand according to the 2022 standards. The average salary of software developer is getting 7.0. 3 lakhs getting, 2 lakhs getting, it is nothing but working like non-IT employee only. Non-IT employees are getting 6 lakhs nowadays. So, after that, learning Django, it is your own choice, but my choice is go for data science. You try to target higher levels so that you can succeed. Definitely you can succeed in that. So after the Python, if you try for it, after the complete course of Python learning from my class, 70% chance you will get as a Python developer directly. Yesterday also one student got a cloud security engineer, CSO. New position, cloud security engineer, using Python coding. They are giving some special training in that company, what they are following it. They appreciated him in the Python coding. OOPS level, object-oriented exceptions, functions, lambda functions, filter function. They asked about filter, reduce and all those things. So coding is important for you to selection in the interview process. So after Python, during the Python learning, you learn any database with SQL. Then along with that, after completion of Python, put your resumes in LinkedIn, Freshers World, Monster. So many are there now. You'll get the calls. 70% you will get it. 30% you will get. They will expect data science related algorithms also. ML. Deep learning, AI, these things. And learning those things is not a difficult. It all depends on the teacher students. When you came to my class, what I said, I don't want your basics, I said, right or not? Then I started teaching my own thing. If anybody is coming late, I will shout on you because I took that responsibility. Right or not? Anybody doing mistake, I will highlight you. All these things. So, like that, any subject is concerned, it depends on the total faculty, that's all. So I will say, so Rahul, I hope learning Django is my least priority. Because already Java and C#.NET already they are becoming so much big in the industry, already grown in development of web applications. If new web application is coming, they will go for Django. Very rarely new web applications will come. And Django position is not going to take 7 lakhs, 8 lakhs, 9 lakhs. You cannot reach. You maximum you will reach after 6 years also. 5 lakhs maximum you will get it. 5 lakhs. Nowadays 5 lakhs for software engineer per annum is not enough. Minimum is 7 lakhs per annum. How you plan it? Getting 7 lakhs is not a difficult per annum. It's called what? Only your intelligence improves, your package will improve. Improve your brain, package will improve. Brain not improving, package will not improve because it's not a government job. Not DA, TL will be given for every 6 months. 300 rupees DA, 350 DA. We don't want that. If a hike is given, 20% hike, 8 lakhs to 12 lakhs, 12 lakhs to 14 lakhs. Changing the company, 25 lakhs directly. Are you following it? So you target for 100%. Right, Rahul? Now I will go to that. Now I will go to that. Now I will move to the further. Come on, read out logical errors. Compile time errors solved by what? Programmer at development time. Now logical errors I am going to take. Logical errors are those which are occurring during execution process or runtime. Logical errors occurring due to wrong representation of logics. Logical errors are always gives wrong results. Logical errors must be solved by programmers during development time. So simple. Now you come to the runtime errors. Runtime errors are nothing but what? Implementation errors. Now, runtime errors are those which are occurring during execution process or runtime. Runtime errors, once again I am saying, this is very careful. Exception handling means what? Runtime errors. Definition of exception is what? Runtime error. Come on. Runtime errors are occurring due to wrong or invalid inputs entered by application or end user. Programmers must deal with runtime errors in project development for generating user-friendly error messages for making application robust. Robust is nothing but what? Strong. By default, runtime errors generates technical error messages which are understandable by programmers but not by end users. This process is not recommended. Which process? Generating technical error messages are not recommended. This process is not recommended in project development. Hence, industry is highly recommended to generate user-friendly error messages by using exception handling. Did you understand this point? Yes. So, runtime errors you are understanding. I will open one important point, one important document. So, exception handling is nothing but what? Which errors? Runtime errors. Now I am going to say some points I will show you. I mentioned around 8 to 9 points I mentioned it. Maybe 10 points I mentioned it. Some of the points I will show you. Some of the points I will show you. What is that now? You learned it. I am just saying that. Only few points I am going to show you. Other points you don't worry about it. Other points you don't worry. Start. When the application user enters invalid input, then we get runtime errors. Invalid input, arrow, runtime errors. Basic point. Already you know na? Next. By default, runtime errors generates technical error messages. That means invalid input gives runtime errors. Runtime errors gives what? Technical error message. Definition of what? Exception. Every runtime error is called exception. Invalid input is called a runtime error. Runtime error is known as exception. Hence, every invalid input gives exception. Clear? Good. By default, exceptions also generates technical error messages. What is the definition of exception handling? Handling exceptions. Exceptions gives which messages? You are handling it and converted into which messages? That put it into the official format. The process of converting technical error messages into user-friendly error messages is called exception handling. Easy or difficult down? Easy. Now I am going to take it. One important point. Sir, what happens when an exception occurs? What happens when an exception occurs? Shall I show you an example? Okay. Go to the program. Go to the program. I am going to say, student, you see, A is equal to 10. A is equal to, students in online, take care, ma. A is equal to 10. B is equal to 2. C is equal to A by B. A by B. Now I'm going to see, I'm writing program execution started. Program execution started. I'm writing. Next is called what do you know? Print of what? Program execution ended. Program execution ended. I'm going to write it. Program execution ended. I'm writing. And in middle of it, see students, print of value of A is equal to comma A. Value of B, I am writing B value, I am writing. Take care. And I am writing. Now I am writing here value of C, that is called a DIV is equal to C. DIV is equal to what? C. You see that. Carefully observe it. My PVM is going to execute continuously this complete program from beginning of the program to ending of the program. That is known as what? Successful valid input is given, valid output is also coming. Correct or not? So no more exceptions are there in this program. Understand, students? Right. Let us go to that. I'm going to save my code here. You go to that. Here, 7 a.m. exceptions I'm writing. So I'm writing here exceptions. So exceptions I'm writing it. You save it. I'll say something like notes here. So I'm writing. So coming to the point back. Now I'm coming to this area. Now see this now. Save this. Are you following me? Right. Suppose if I don't write 10. If I don't write 10. What is happening? You see. Go to the place. Go to the command prompt. D colon, I see this point, go to our location, 7 a.m. I will write exceptions here. Now I'm going to say PY, I'm saying this. You see that syntax error. Nothing but what? Compile time error. PVM, our Python compiler catched an error. Syntax is not followed. When I write it now, it will execute from beginning of the program to ending of the program. There is no problem at all because valid input is given, valid output is given. Now, all of a sudden, I'm giving 0 here. Take care. Take care. What is happening? My program execution started. PVM come to line number 2. No problem in input. No problem in input. No problem in input. 5 also executed. 6 also executed. When it comes to line number 7, what is happening? Observe it. It becomes what? 10 by 0. 10 by 0 is known as what? Generally in English, division by 0 problem. Spell out, ma. Division by 0 problems. This is division by 0 problem. It is called. Such a problem is occurring. Is your PVM is able to compute this value? No. Anything by 0 is called what? Infinity. So your PVM also can't define that. So when it is not able to define, PVM is expressing its inability to process it, which is called exception. PVM is getting what? Wrong input or correct input? Wrong input. Wrong input is known as what? Exception. Wrong input is called a runtime error, correct or not? Every wrong input is known as what? Exception. Such a type of exception is occurring in this program called line number 7. When an exception occurs in the program, there are 3 points are taking place. Very, very important. When an exception is occurring in line number 7, 3 points will take place internally. Number 1, program execution abnormally terminated. Program execution abnormally terminated. Do you understand the meaning of abnormal termination? Abnormally terminated. Abnormal termination means middle only getting terminated. terminated. Beginning to ending execution is called what? Successful execution. Middle of the termination is known as what? Abnormal termination. Begin to ending execution is called what? Successful termination. Middle of the termination is known as, when my class starts at 7:20, if I am continuing total time, it is called successful class. In 8 o'clock only I am stopping my class. It is called what? Abnormal termination. So why 8 o'clock we will stop? When some disturbance is taking place, when some problem is taking place. Why the middle of the program execution start? Some type of exception is occurring. When an exception is occurring, program execution abnormally terminated. Number one, PVM comes out of the program. PVM comes out totally, comes out of program, comes out of program flow, comes out of program flow. And do you know, student? And once it comes out, PVM generates by default which message? Technical error message will be given. By default, it gives which message, ma? Technical error message. These three things will happen when an exception is occurring. Tell me once again, when an exception occurs, how many things will happen? Three things. Number one, program execution is abnormally terminated. PVM comes out of the program flow, and once it comes out, what it generates? Technical error messages will be generated. These are the three things occurring when an exception is occurring. Are you following me? So this is called exception occurrence points. Do you know? I am discussing one more star point now. If ABC steps you want to do it, to do this ABC steps, to do ABC steps, what are the ABC steps? Abnormal termination makes the PVM to come out of it and to generate which message? User-friendly error, technical error message. To do these three steps, internally, PVM creates, this is a new point for you, PVM creates an object. Because in Python, everything is done with what? Object. PVM creates what? Object. When an exception occurring, three steps will take place. To do these three steps, one object is created. Object need what? Come on, object need what? Class is required. Such a class is not a normal class. Such classes are what? Exception classes. Already I made you to understand that exception classes. If I tell now, you will understand very easily. Whenever an exception is occurring, ABC steps are taking place. To do these ABC steps, PVM will create one object every time. That object will have one type of what classes? Exception class. That means for every exception, there is one object is created. Are you getting my point? For every exception, what is created? One object is created. That object will have what? Exception class is there. What is that exception class I am going to show? In this case, the exception class name is, for this problem, exception class name is what? Zero division error. Spell out. Zero division error. Z capital, D capital, E capital, no spaces to be given. It is known as all the words first letters are capital. It is known as what? Hungarian notation we can call. Writing first letters of every word capital is called Hungarian notation. HUN. Hungarian notation. It is a Java notation actually. Even in Python also they followed. What is an error name? What is an exception class name? Zero division error. Now press the enter key now. I am going to press the enter key now. Here it is an exception is occurring. Press the enter key, run this code now. See this is happening what? Run this, save this code first and run this. See what is happening? You observe it. See that what is printed? Program execution started. Line number 10 is printed. 0 is also printed. Observe it. Up to here it is printed. Value of A printed, value of B printed. Line number 7 did not print, did not evaluate. See line number 7. What is happening? See this under cap symbol. What is this now? What is zero division error? Exception class name. Whose object is created when the denominator is 0? Are you able to follow? So tell me, what happens when an exception is occurring? One more time I will show you. And more easily I will show you. More easily. Sir, where we discussed all these things. A is equal to, S is equal to Python here. S of 0. What is the PVM understand this statement? Yes. 0 value is what? P. And I am going to pass it -1. What is the value of it? N. Now I am going to say something like all of a sudden 11. Is PVM is knowing this -11. So PVM will feel it as which input? Wrong input. Wrong input is known as what? Exception. Exception will be there for invalid index or not? What is that index that I said? Index error I said. Can you call them once? Index error we can call. Are you able to follow me? Index error. See the index error now? What is this index error is called? Class name. Which class name? Exception class name. Are you able to follow? Next. I am importing. I'll import KVR. Import KVR. Okay. Now coming back. Now here, now students, coming back to this line. What is this now? Import KVR. Do you have this KVR module now? No. It is going to give you what error? Module not found error. What is next year? Index error. All of them are ends with error, error, error. They are nothing but what? Exception classes. Exception? A is equal to or something like LST is equal to, I am taking 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 and then 60. Already we know LST dot remove of what? 10. 10 is removed. LST dot remove of what? 100. Do you have 100? If the PVM is having 100 here, is it valid input or invalid input? Invalid input gives you what? Exception. Exception will occur means what? Object will create. Object creation require what? Class. What is the class name? What is that exception class name? Value error. Do you remember? Value error. Easy or difficult? Easy. Now see students, I will go for one more thing. I'll take it as yes here. Yes, sir. What is this? S is called set or not? Yes. Yes dot set. Yes dot remove of 10 is coming. Removed. Yes dot remove of 100. Do you have 100 there? What error? Key error. No, this is an invalid input you entered. Key error. Key error is called one exception class or not? See. Now, all these errors you know already or not? All sorts of errors which are coming during my runtime are called what? Exception related things. So, I hope you are understanding these points. Now I am going to back to this area. Now I am getting back. So come on, read out the 6th point. When an exception occurs in Python, internally PVM performs 3 steps. Number 1, PVM terminates program execution abnormally. PVM flow comes out of the program execution. By default, PVM generates technical error message. To perform step A, step B, step C, that means this ABC steps, PVM creates an object of appropriate exception class. PVM creates an object of appropriate exception class. In general, if any exception occurs, then PVM creates an object of appropriate exception class. It's a very, very important point, student. Exception means object. When exception occurs, what is created? Object is created. Simple, ma. You are coming late. I am a Python programmer. You are coming late to my class. What will create in my place? Exception will create. What is that? Late coming error. Right or not? If I like it, I will allow. I will say that, otherwise not allowed. When my class is going on, program is running, all of a sudden sleeping. What is created in my program? Sleep error. If your class is going on, you are not responding, immediately what will come? Listen error will come. These are all called what? Anything doing wrong. It is known as what? Error. That error is known as what? Exception we can call. I hope you are following me. So any sort of exception comes, one object will create. Division by 0. What exception will come? 0 division error. In sets, I am trying to remove the value. Which error will come? Key error. I am trying to remove the value from the list. Value error. I am trying to locate the key in dictionary. Though that key is not there. Which error? Key error. I am trying to pass the out of bounds of index. Out of index I am passing. It is called what error? Index error. I am trying to import some module which is not there. Module not found error. Understand? I am trying to take local variable names for local variable names, global variable names same. I am trying to refer the global variable names. I am trying to use it. What error it is? Not able to say because you did not read. So global variable name same, local variable name same. I am trying to get that type of modification to be done by global variables. Unbound local error. Unbound local error, already said. When you are modifying the global variables inside the function definition, I already shown you unbound local error. What are all those things are called? Exception classes. Anything you do wrong, one object is created. That object will have what? Exception classes. These classes are important. In medical sciences, for every disease, there is one tablet is there or not? For every problem in program, there is one type of what? Class. Last and final, I will ask you whether you are in touch with the subject or not. I will check you. KVR is an S. I am trying to convert into integer type. Possible or not possible? Is PVM is able to convert or not? Huh? Yes or no? No. No. What error will come? What error will come? You are not in touch with the subject. Ma? What is that error? Time. Type error. No, it is called what? Value error. Value error. Because it is a wrong formatted input. It is not possible to convert. It is going to give you what? Value error. Where I told you, I will go to it. మీరు చిన్నప్పుడు చెప్పాను ఇది మీకు. When you are in LKG level only, I told you. నేను చెప్పలేదని మీరు ఫీల్ అవుతారు కానీ నేను చెప్పిన నాకు సాటిస్ఫాక్షన్. So you may not remember, but I feel lot of satisfaction because everything which is coming after 1 month, I already taught to you. And how much long forecasting knowledge I am having. What questions will come in interview, that questions are there in your notes. That's why I feel very proud of it. Every question is from my notes and chepta untaru. Last class also I'll say the same thing. Go to that typecasting techniques. What is the topic name? Typecasting techniques. What is the type? Int type. Int type. Now, I'm remembering which case also I said. Last case. Under strings, case 1, case 2, case 3, case 4, case 5. Last point I said. I'll show you that. Examples. Possible, not possible. String case you see. String case 1, case 2, case 3, case 4. This one you see. Pure str, int, not possible. What is that? Int KVR and see that. Same example also I said. That means I have long view about you. What you are after my course is over, I have long view. That's why I will give solid subject for you. Are you able to follow? You said type error, that error, this error, etc. error. Next, I'll give you one more thing. A is equal to 2 plus 3j. 2 plus 3j. I am writing int of this b. I am writing int of b. Come on. Come on. What error? So only girls are having competition. Boys, no sir, we are not in competition. Value error, type error. Value Wrong answer. Type error. Yes. So, coming to that, not B. A need to pass. A need to pass. You pass it A. Now see, what error? Type error. I know you will say value error only, but I changed my question. Because these are all unbelievable facts because you are not in touch with the subject. You are quite away from your subject. See that complex number 2 plus 3j, type error. Written the same question is coming in exam. You said that sir not explained in the class, but I am showing because I did not type today. Already typed. Everything is in front of you. I am different to your career. Even if you say not remembering, it's opening now, showing now in your folder only. Are you following, students? Right. Next, like that. So now I am going to give you here. Now coming to the point back, I am going to say types of error. Okay, here. Now tell me in general, every exception occurs, then PVM creates an object of appropriate exception class. Hence, every exception in Python is considered as an object of appropriate exception class. Did you understand up to today? So what did you understand these points? These points are very important. Building points for dealing with what? Exception handling. Are you able to remember this? Tell me, if any exception occurs, what is created internally? Object. Every object will have what? Exception class. Exception class advantage is what? It has the nature of abnormal termination. Normal class is what? It will provide the successful completion. Take ATM example once again. If I keep the card reverse order, will it be continued? What is that error is called? Runtime error. Runtime error is called what? Exception. What will create internally? Object. That object will make you to stop the process and it comes out of it and give the message. Did you understand? Exception classes will provide what termination? Abnormal termination. Normal classes provides what? Smooth execution. Okay, next what you did? You kept the card properly, enter the PIN number. PIN number wrong. What is it? Exception. Exception means what will create? Object will create. That object will have what? Class. Not class, exception class. Exception class advantage is what? It stops immediately. Suppose if you enter a PIN number, it is saying invalid PIN number. Will it ask enter the balance to withdraw? No. When you enter invalid PIN, immediately it stops. Your card will come out. That means abnormal termination. To do that abnormal termination, one class object is required. That classes are called what? Exception classes today. Did you understand that point? So what is the difference between exception classes and normal classes? Normal classes will provide successful completion. Exception classes will provide abnormal termination. So abnormal termination required in the case of wrong inputs or not? When you enter wrong password, will it makes you to go for inbox? No. By saying invalid password, is it going to show your inbox? No. When you say wrong input, wrong password, it will stop and it will say the message for you. That is nothing but abnormal termination internally. To do this abnormal termination, we need to go for what? Exception handling classes. So first day I will teach about what? Types of errors and what are the building points of it. Tell me last and final. Valid inputs gives valid outputs. Invalid inputs gives exceptions. When exception occurs, what will create? Object. Because of that object creation, comes out of it, gives a default message called what? Technical error message. That same class I will use it for generating which messages? User-friendly error messages. Understand? Fine. So, finally, these points are important. So, what are the points? I will add this word student. I will add to these things. Now, coming to this point here, I am going to give you this point here. In this place, what is added there? Some point is added. So here some line is written. Valid inputs gives this points I will give you. This points I will give you as a note points here. So this is a note points I am giving. These points valid inputs gives you what? Valid results. invalid inputs to the programmer or app gives you runtime error. Runtime error is known as what? Technical error message, exception handling, user-friendly error message. This is just only for your reference purpose. Understand? So zero division error, value error, index error, type error, module not found error, attribute error. These are all called what? Predefined exception classes. Predefined. They are all dealing with separate problems or not. We can develop our own exceptions also. That is known as what? Programmer defined exceptions we can call. Is it understandable, students? Right. So I will stop the class at this stage, and tomorrow class when I come back, I will introduce programming mechanism. Try, except, all those things I'll explain. Types of exceptions, all those things I will start. Don't miss the class. Important. Don't come late to the class. Already you decided to come to the class now. Why to come late? Right? So take care, both of them. Coming on bike, right? Coming on bike. On bike, why bikes are required? To come on time. So when you are having bike coming late means exception is coming. Come on time, okay? Right. Take care, students. All the best. Don't miss tomorrow class. Important. Yeah, students in the online. Sai Dharni. Student name is Sai Dharni.
Hello, sir. Good morning. Can you hear me,
Ma.
sir?
Yes, ma. Tell me, ma.
Sir, in the yesterday's topic, like in packages, I have done one programming, sir. But I have got one like error, and I'm getting the error in only edit place, sir. Like I'll share that, sir, with you. 1 minute.
See, ma, packages is nothing. Is the only folder you need to create. In that you need to say.
Yes, sir. I have created, but the same program I have done in PyCharm, but I'm not getting that error. But while I'm doing in the edit plus, I'm getting that.
What
error.
Is that error, ma'am?
I'll share that, so 1 minute.
So modules, whatever the programs we did in modules, Tushara, you are having some doubt, ma. Whatever the modules we have done it, same program we will keep it in the folder.
Yes, sir.
That is nothing but nodes only.
Yes, I have shared with you, sir.
This is, I told you already, ma. Already I told you, na. What is that error I told? Even in PyCharm also, you will get the same thing. See that you will be getting. I already told in the class. What is the error you are having here? You see here. You see. This is what you are using there. You are using /u. Right?
Yes, but I have changed it, sir. Like I have.
You need to change it like this.
Yes, yes, I have changed it, and I have changed also. I'm getting the same error, sir.
And you use reverse. You use like this. Reverse you use.
No, sir. Like I'll share you this. Like after searching in Google, like I have.
Don't search in Google. Ma. Google is not, nothing is there in that, and try to follow my guidelines.
No, sir. Like in the error itself, they have said like to follow some link. So I have seen in that link to add this line, like I have shared you, sir, like that line in the top of the program. Then you'll like will not get the error. Then I have added that line. I have shared you, sir.
You got it, answer?
Yes, sir. But I haven't understand like what is that line?
They are giving a Latin kind of coding.
Yeah, yes, sir.
So actually, that's not necessary. Even I told in the class, when you are getting that, you are going to get it what? Slash u comes means I said to do this kind of thing, right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. Any students is having the doubt? Any doubts are there, students? So any doubts are there? Keep in front. I'll just show you. So no doubt, huh? Okay, students. So now I'll take it off. Now I'll upload this note, students. One index is also there. So no more doubts. Follow the notes carefully and read the notes. Yes, Ma Pavani. Something you raised a hand. You have any doubt, Ma?